Good morning, everybody. How are we doing on this Wednesday? Can you believe it's the middle of the week? Wow, wow, and wow. I told myself, I said, since it's the middle of the week, I'm going to shine a little bit more than I always talk about the diamond factor. So I have my orange on. I'm a tangerine today. So I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's doing awesome. You're in for another awesome Diamond Factor Experience show with Barbara Beckley. Now, I know the name of the show is with Barbara Beckley, but I have to just say, my experts, whew, they just made me, it's just like the cherry on top of a sundae. And I just have to say, it wouldn't be, this show wouldn't be, it's just not Barbara. It's just not me. This show would not be without my experts, without people that has been really supporting me, even through the background, just saying, Barbara, this is awesome. This is wonderful. You're putting people in front. You're giving exposure to people, and that's what, as you always know, that's what my mission is, to make sure that we have those awesome, awesome diamonds, as I call it, the foundation of PPD, purpose, passion, and drive in your life, to show through the show. So with that, I always said I was going to open up with some quotes, something to think about today. So I looked at my favorite lady, um, Maya Angelou. I love her quotes. I love what she says. And it seemed like I always have to go to her quotes when things get kind of just a little bit challenging in life. So this one quote might resonate with you. If not, please pass it on, because believe me, it resonates with me every time I read it. So one of the quotes she has, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Plain and simple. I mean, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of things going on right now with, we just had the presidency, elections, and still with the whole COVID, all that stuff is going on. We can't change some things. Some things you can't change it. Like how people say, well, it was out of your control. Why are you worried about it? Why are you pushing it? Why are you getting a headache? Why are you stressing over it? Why are you getting sick over it? And people are so right. It's so right. I mean, I think about it now. I'm like, if I have technical difficulties in the morning before my show comes on, I can't, that's out of my control. All I can do is just keep it working, keep it moving, and just hope that things get better. And if it doesn't get better, then you do plan B. There's always a plan B. Sometimes I tell people a C and a D. So with that, I just want to read it over again. If you don't like something, change it. And if you can't change it, change your attitude, change the way how you think about it. Go to that. I know some people be like, okay, Barbara, here you go with the positivity. Well, yeah, sometimes it does work. I mean, just changing your whole mindset of it helps a lot. And I tell people, you can't be mad and happy at the same time. I mean, if you can do that at the same time, then I'm going to put it out there, and people think that I'm crazy. I'm not a doctor, but you're going to sound like you're crazy. I mean, I can give you an example, and it's kind of hard because you can't be like, I'm upset, I'm happy, I'm upset, I'm happy. How can you do that all at the same time? So change your attitude to another pleasant moment, and then you can probably push through and what's going on. So with that, I just wanted to leave you with that little quote. And like I said, every morning when I come on, I want to give some kind of wisdom, something just to think about, put your mind to for your day. Now, before we come to our expert today, because after we show his introduction, you're going to hear he's going to be the next voice that you hear from. So I see some people on. I asked that if you have anything to display, I can't say the word comments, but if you want to display something and say something, good mornings or just some questions or anything, please drop it down so we can see that. Barry Mixon, I'm telling you, he's a storyteller. He's a genius to me. His science, if you want to know about history and science and all math and everything, go to Barry. Go to Barry. He teaches me every time we get on the phone, we start talking about history. I just sit there like this. This is a lesson. Oh my God, I learned something new. And then it also tells me that did I really think about history was getting when I was a teenager? Because Barry seemed like he put me up to speed. He keeps putting me up to speed. So I really appreciate him with that. He just don't know. Now he knows. But when he talks about history and he just makes it so fun, so interesting, so enlightening, it's like I feel like I'm in there. Like if you're talking about the war or something like that, I feel I'm right there with him in the war. So that this is how he does with history. He just he's really good at doing that and bringing you to where you should be so you can understand the total total history of that. And just to let everybody know real quickly that you should, I'm telling you, history, knowing the history is very important because then you understand why things are going on the way they're going on today. So with that said, I'm going to no longer hold off here. Let me, after this introduction, you will hear from Mr. Barry.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Veterans Day to everyone. In fact, let me make this official. Happy Veterans Day, ladies and gentlemen, those of you. And yesterday was the United States Marine Corps' birthday. So happy birthday, fellow Marines. Hoorah. So I will take off my paraphernalia. 245 years of doing what we do. So good morning and thank you so much to attending this show. My name is Barry Mixon. I am the owner of the Gem Hunter, Gemological Appraisals and Storytelling Services, Art, Science, History, Magic. I am a gemological storyteller. Now, some of you are probably saying to yourself, what's a gemological storyteller? So the purpose of this show today is to talk about that, and then shows after that, you will begin to understand the importance of storytelling. A little bit about myself. I'm from New York originally, Harlem, New York, New York in the house. I've lived in Chicago for 28, 29 years now. Went to have degrees in biology, chemistry, biochem, and gemology. 14 years in the Marine Corps. And I've been studying gemology since 2004. And one of the things that, and I didn't get into gemology because of the bling bling. I mean, I like jewelry, that's nice, but that wasn't the thing for me. When I started studying gemology, my friend Cosette, my best friend in the world, Cosette Barry, who is a master designer, asked me to help her in a jewelry show once. And I knew nothing about jewelry. She said, Barry, she had a bad back. She asked me to help her in a jewelry show once. And I said, I don't know anything about jewelry. I mean, I'm from New York. I know 47th Street, things of this, but I didn't know anything about jewelry. So she said, come, just come along and I'll help you. So I went. It was at a law office, and we laid out all the pieces. And the woman who had hired us, I was working for Bally's. I was a weight loss specialist for women at that time. And the woman who had hired us had really a serious issue regarding her weight. She was easily 400 pounds. And she came, wonderful woman. And she came to the table. We had all the pieces laid out. And the thing that got me, what she said, that she looked at the pieces, eyes as big as saucers. And she said, not that I like, not that I want, but I need. Ooh, I need this. Ooh, I need this. And that's what got me thinking, oh my God, if I spoke to this woman about weight loss or anything else, she wasn't even going to hear what I was saying. She wanted that jewelry like it was air. And that's what got me started thinking, maybe I'm in the wrong business. I mean, what is it? I've never seen someone so passionate about anything other than air and food like the way she was with jewelry. And as I started studying jewelry and going through the Gemological Institute of America at first, and now working on my fellowship or doctorate in gemology at the Gemological Association of Great Britain. That's why I spelled gemology with 2 M's, because I'm more into the British system now. I learned that the whole history of mankind really revolves around gemstones and precious metals. In fact, my logo that you see in the back is this. This is my pendant. Is basically, it's hard to see in the light. Diamonds, rubies, emeralds, sapphires, not pearls, diamonds, and of course, gold. And as I started studying jewelry, I noticed something really interesting. I noticed that the same characteristics and techniques that I find in jewelry, all these books basically are telling me what I should be looking for in a gemstone. Those same characteristics are the same characteristics that's found in people. And yet we have a problem. The same things that's so highly valued in gemstones, we have a problem, whether it be in this country, in our community, in this world, with those characteristics. So for instance, if I said diamond, I don't know how many people are on watching tonight, but it could be hundreds, it could be thousands, it could be the whole world. And if I said diamonds, rubies, emeralds, sapphires, pearls, gold, everyone know exactly what I'm talking about. Whether you own it or not, you would say, yeah, okay, no problem. If I showed you a diamond, this would be a 4,600 carat diamond. If it was real, it's not. But if it was real, this is a model of the ideal cut diamond. That means the light goes through and you have 100% light performance. All the light that goes in comes out through the table. And if this was real, you would go, oh my God, Barry, where did you get that? How much was it worth? Some of you would be thinking, where does he live so I can get it from him? And the reason why you know that is because you understand the story of it. Even though you may not have ever studied gemology in any school, you know instinctively the story. Someone told you a story about how rare gemstones are, how special diamonds are, how you're not going to walk down the street and say, hey, look, honey, I found a 4,000 carat diamond just laying in the street. You would never expect that because you understand the story of it, which got me to start thinking, if that's the situation with gemstones, how come we don't have that same situation with people? Now, I know that we're talking about an inanimate object, diamonds, rubies, sapphires, pearls, versus a human being. But to me, in my mind, as a scientist, the whole concept of value should work in reverse. A diamond has only one element in it, carbon, which makes it very special. But yet we as human beings have hundreds of elements in us combined in different molecular structures to make us all individuals, 7.5 billion people. So if I said that I had this diamond, all of you would be totally excited about it. It's like, oh my God, I saw it, I felt it, I want to see it. But let's say, suppose we had that same understanding of value with people. If I told you next week, someone says, Barry, what did you do last Wednesday? Oh, I hung out with Barbara Beckley. Oh, Barbara Beckley? Oh my God, you met Barbara Beckley? Yeah, I met her. What was it like? Oh, it was wonderful. She was just so engaging and just so sweet and intelligent and wonderful. Oh my God, I really wish I could meet somebody like her. And the only difference between this diamond and Barbara Beckley is the story. If you knew what Barbara Beckley had gone through in her life, anybody, any of you watching, if I don't know who you are, the moment that I know who you are, your value increases. So that's what the Gem Hunter show will be about. I will literally take concepts, the art, science, history, and magic of gemstones and precious metals, and use it as an analogy, as a template, or as I like to say, an inception point to get people to begin to discover the value of their own stories. And I think it's really, really important for people to understand their stories. And I say that, I can't say that with any more passion than getting you to understand that 28 years ago, 29 years ago now, I was homeless. Yes, 29 years ago, right here in Chicago, I was homeless, living in the streets of Chicago in the winter of 1992. And even though I had degrees in biology, chemistry, biochem, I flew missions in the Marine Corps. I've been to Iraq, Afghanistan. In fact, I was there when they were our friends. When I was homeless, living in the streets of Chicago, nobody knew that about me. They walked right past me. One, because I smelled horrible. I looked horrible, hair, things like this. But no one understood my value. And that stuck with me. And I made a promise to God that if I ever got out of homelessness, which there were many, 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 many days, I was homeless for a year. There was many, many days that I didn't think I would ever get out of it. But I said to myself, if I ever got out of homelessness, I would somehow spend the rest of my life talking and teaching, getting people to understand their own value, because I think that is so needed just in general. But now with COVID, with thousands, 240,000 people died, hundreds of thousands, at least 100,000 restaurants or more are closed forever. Businesses, people are now, we have this whole new wave. People are going to, if they're going to survive this, they're going to have to begin to and have to restart. They have to start from a place where they have to understand what is your value. And the only way you understand your value is through a story. As an appraiser, when I look at a gemstone, I, as a professional, cannot look at a gemstone and just say, oh yeah, that's a diamond. Oh yeah, that's a ruby because it's red. I have to first figure out, where did it come from? How was it made? How was it processed? What country did it come from? What inclusions, meaning what's in it? And once I have all that information together, I write a report called an appraisal, and then I attach a value to it. Isn't that the same thing that we can do with people? Before we judge, before we say something, oh, I don't like you because you're this. I don't like you because of this. We live in the, as Barbara just said, the election just happened. And now we have these two camps. We have Democrats and we have Republicans, and people, and I've been accused of that as well. And I don't want to think that I'm some enlightened being or I'm just like, oh, everyone is, no, I have, oh, you're a Democrat, oh, you're a Republican, you like Trump, whatever. But that's only one characteristic. It would be completely inappropriate or malpractice, really, if I just looked at a red gemstone and because it's red, I said, that's a ruby. And I gave it a certain value. Well, that value would be incorrect. It may very well be a ruby, but what kind of ruby is it? Where did it come from? How is it made? So the Gem Hunter Show will literally be every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. What I will do is take you through a concept, a technique that I use in appraisal studies, and we'll look at the art, science, history, and magic of gemstones and help you apply it into your own life. The thing about gemstones that gets me so excited is what people have done to get a gemstone. Imagine 17th century, you get on a ship, you don't know where you're going, you're crossing an ocean, and of course people knew the world was round, but you're crossing the Atlantic Ocean, you don't know how far you have to go, you don't know what you're going to come up against. You've heard of hostile indigenous tribes, you didn't care. You knew that you may have to climb mountains. You didn't care. You didn't know whether it was going to be enough food or water. You didn't know even if you were going to come back. And yet, you still did it. You still went because you valued that gemstone. And so the Gem Hunter Show will be a place where people can begin to ask questions about gemstones, because there really is a relationship between gemstone. And I'm not talking about just metaphysical. Yes, art, science, history, magic. Magic speaks to the metaphysical aspects of gemstones, and we'll do that as well. But also just the chemical aspects of it, the molecular aspect, the structure. This is the structure of a, and I have to, this is green, so it's not coming up the green screen, but this is the structure of a diamond. How does that work? Why is it jade? Why is it that jade is valued in 4 different civilizations? Japanese, Chinese civilization, jade is still highly revered, even more so than diamonds. The central pre-Columbian Central American people and the Maori people in New Zealand, 4 different separate cultures divided by years, some cases centuries, thousands of miles, but yet they all value jade in the same way. Why? What if we lived in a world where people valued each other in the same way? See, in gemology, there's no such thing as racism, because in gemology, the more color you have, the more value you have. And so in this present political climate, as an African American, oh, he's black, he's this, he's that. But in the gemstone world, I'm a beautiful brown diamond or topaz or amber with just slight inclusions, meaning I'm getting old. In the gemstone world, age is a wonderful thing. Any diamond that you own is at least 600 million years old. So imagine, ladies especially, who go through ageism all the time. Imagine living in a world where, because that you're 60, 70, 80 years old and all these years of experience, you're applying for a job now, especially with during COVID, you're applying for this new job and someone says, oh my God, do you know she's 80? What kind of value can she bring? Can a person like that bring to our company? If you were a gemstone, that's what people would say. As I said, that this is a 4,600 carat diamond. Well, carat in gemology means weight. Imagine living in the world where you're not judged by your weight. You would literally say, if I said to someone would say to me, Barry, I see you've put on a few carats. Yeah, isn't it wonderful? You look fantastic. And my value would increase. I like to tell myself that when I'm eating chocolate cake and I'm gaining a lot of weight. So my value during this COVID crisis has definitely increased if I was now a beautiful chocolate diamond. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how diamonds and gemstones have created revolutions, have changed civilizations. The things that you know and see every day in the world is because of the way we relate to gemstones, the way we relate to precious metals. We're going to talk about why gold has existed for thousands of years, gold and silver. And there's a reason for it, not just a esoteric or economic reason. There's a reason for it, that it's the only thing in the 118 different elements in the periodic table. Gold, there's actually 5 metals that's the only things that could have been used for money: gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and rhodium. You couldn't use platinum, because the melting point is 5,235 degrees. Palladium or rhodium wasn't discovered until the 18th century. That leaves out ancient people. So gold and silver are the only things that could have survived or could be used as money. And now, although gold has gone down, but gold just 2 weeks ago was $2,000 an ounce. And the reason why, even though gold has limited uses, it's because the way we value gold. Imagine if we began to value each other in the same way. So what I want you to do is bring questions. I want this to be an adventure. I will literally take you to different parts of the world. I will literally take you, well, some of the places I'll actually go, pictures, things like this, but take you to different parts of the world, take you to different times, periods in history, and get you to understand why we feel the way we feel about gemstone, and then help you make that extrapolation to your own life. I will teach you the 7 elements of a story and how that all fits together. The 7 elements, and some of you have gone to my workshops. There's 7 elements to every story: sound, passion, the hero, the antagonist, which is the most important part of the story, which all of us are going through right now, awareness, transformation, and then sound again. When you read a book, and those elements fit in movies, commercials, television shows, books, anything. That's what a good story does. And the most important thing that you will learn each and every Wednesday at 8 o'clock is that you will begin to understand that nothing has value without a story. So please join me in this adventure. I'm going to do my absolute best to make it fun, engaging, because it's fun and engaging to me. I'm a big kid. Yes, I'm 60 years old. Thank you. But I'm a big kid in heart. So when I'm teaching you things, the excitement, the passion you hear, this is how I am. When I teach children, they always ask me, Mr. Mixon, are you like that all the time? Or are you taking anything? No, this is how I am. Because when you begin to understand the power of stories, and more importantly, the power of once upon a time, then you'll understand why I'm so excited. So I invite all of you I look forward to your questions, your comments, and welcome to the Gem Hunter Show. Now I'll take it back to Barbara. And again, happy Veterans Day to everyone. Can't hear you. Barbara, can't hear you. There you go.
Uh-oh, I was on mute. I hate that button. Well, Barry, thank you so much. I'm just pumped up. I can't wait for the next week and the next week and the next week, because you're going to be talking about some good things, especially when you're talking about person's value. And I know we're going to learn through the gemstones, but like you said, it all comes together. And I love how you explain each story of the gemstones and what you're going to be doing. Because like you always tell me, our stories are very important. And that's what makes us who we are. That builds us up. So
stories are not only just very important. Stories are one of the most, being not only stories, understanding stories, but being able to tell your story is one of the most important things that you can ever do in your life. And I tell people that I was homeless, not to, I don't recommend homelessness as a therapy for everybody. You know, when people are going through things, I'll say, you know what you need to do? You need to be homeless. No, that's what God had to put me through. Okay. But what I got out of that is being able to tell people where I've come from, where I was so many years ago and where I am now. And the only reason that happened is because a good story only does 3 things. A good story is memorable, a good story calls you to action, and most importantly, a good story makes you need to tell a friend. Yeah. And imagine how you can use that power to build a new business, to develop a new relationship, to talk to your kids. I will teach you techniques that you will, and I teach kids all the time, middle schoolers. So I know I can teach you a way to talk to a kid where a kid will sit there and say, "Ooh, can you tell me how to clean my room again?" Most of the time.
Most of the time. So save all that for next week, because I don't even, if we get into another conversation, I'm going to get all excited again, and we're going to get into and I still have to bring our other expert on. So with that said, Barry, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and we look forward to your next week episodes.
Thank you.
And happy Veterans Day. Thank you for serving our country.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Bye-bye.
See, now I'm telling you, I told you I got the experts here. So our next expert is coming very soon. But we always have to give that little spot for our sponsors. So before that happens, just to let you know, I'll be putting one of our sponsors on. Then I'll be putting Cheryl's introduction. And then the next voice you're going to hear is from Cheryl. Just to remember that this month is an awesome month. It's Global Diabetes Month. And Cheryl's going to be talking a little bit more about that and some things that she's doing under her platform, and just giving you some tips regarding that particular thing, because this doesn't have to be that. Sometimes people look at being having diabetes as, oh my God, the world is whatever. No, it doesn't have to be that. And Cheryl is the one to tell you that you can move forward and live a wonderful, happy life, because she's living an awesome life herself. And just to get to know her more and more, she is, I'm telling you, she's awesome, and you're going to love what she tells you regarding that. So let's get to our sponsor and then get straight to Cheryl. Hey, Miss Cheryl. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. How are we doing this morning?
We are doing good. We are doing good.
Good.
So are we in the backstage?
No. We're on now. So I'm gonna leave you to it.
Okay, well, I'm sure that you have some questions for me too, but you are right. And thank you for having me back, Barbara. You are right. November is Global Diabetes Month, and that means everywhere around the world, this is a month that people are recognizing that. And of all the days in the month, especially with the UN, it's been chosen that November 14th on Saturday is that big day around the world. So there's lots of initiatives to really increase one's awareness and to heighten their knowledge, their education, and the information. So I don't know if you know this, Barbara, but when we were speaking last time, we were talking about how many people have diabetes and how many more people have it who aren't even aware. So it's a really great opportunity to be able to let people know that it's many, many years that they can have something called insulin resistance in their body. And that can be something that people don't feel, and that can be happening for 5, 10, even 15 years. And then that's going on silently. We're not always aware until one day. And that one day is when prediabetes can show up, and that is a precursor to type 2 diabetes. So there's a lot of time built up in stages as people do develop diabetes. And the great news is we can stop prediabetes in its tracks. We can stop prediabetes from advancing into type 2 diabetes. And we can even, yes, and you heard it here, you could even reverse type 2 diabetes, which is 90% of the people with diabetes. And Barbara, that number of people worldwide is certainly over 427 million people. So that is a lot of people. And half the people in the world who have prediabetes and diabetes are not even aware of it. So how can we increase our awareness? We can become familiar with symptoms that are typical. But the other thing we can do is step it up a notch, because anyone, anywhere can actually go to their pharmacy or go online, and they can actually get a free monitor. And there's different types of monitors. I'm going to show you an example of a monitor. So this would be a monitor, and a test strip would fit in this monitor. And there's a lancing device to take a sample. And then there's other kind of glucose testing systems. We've seen ones where we don't have to do all the finger pricking, and there's technology devices that allow us to scan, and we can get to know our numbers as well. And what that does is it puts you, the person, in the driver's seat, so that you're able to be preventive and proactive, which is so cool. And then those people, like myself, as you mentioned earlier, who have type 1 diabetes, we are able to optimize our insulin efficiency in our bodies. So the good news is we can reduce the amount of insulin that we need to take to stay alive, because our bodies don't make it, and we can optimize. So it's really about everybody in all stages optimizing so that our bodies can heal from the inside out. And by being able to manage those readings from our tracking when we're doing our blood sugar testing, we're able to then see the things that trigger high blood sugar levels so that we can have more power with them. So the whole awareness really is around, if you have diabetes, what is it that you are doing, and how is it that you're managing it, and understanding your numbers, and how often are you testing. And for those people who are aware that they have insulin resistance or prediabetes, this is a gift, so that you never need to advance to that place. So that's really great information there. With diabetes awareness, there's the whole new movement that we talked about as well. And it's all about being preventive. It's all about being proactive. And it's really putting you in the driver's seat. So rather than being up and down on the roller coaster of blood sugars and having that yo-yo effect and not being able to get off it, it's really about being in front of the numbers. And so you're the driver's seat. So this is the kind of level that you want with blood sugars versus this and this and this. And that's where Holistic Diabetes Solutions fits in, because there's not one particular solution, but there's a combination of them. And the ones that people resonate with are the ones that are going to work with them the best. But for sure, the number one thing with awareness is to look at some of the hidden places where sugars are that we might not be aware of. And if you'd like a few tips on that, I can share with you that the things that we don't often think of have hidden sugars, and sometimes we think they're free foods. And so those areas, just to enhance your awareness, include things like store-bought cereals, and they include things like frozen dinners. They include things like energy drinks and sports drinks and fruit juices and pops, fizzy waters. And they include things like salad dressings, the quiet things like barbecue sauces, and some of the condiments that we use, including ketchup. So there's hidden sugars in areas, and sometimes those can really have an effect, especially over time. So when sugars are hidden and not so obvious, we can think they're free foods. And often, if we see sugar-free, made without sugar in store items, I would really want to bring people's attention to this good awareness tip. Sugar-free may mean there's no added sugar per se, but because the foods and the carbohydrates that we eat convert into sugar in the body at the speed of light, it's sugar-free might be no sugar added, but it doesn't mean that the product, whether it's carbohydrate in the form of, and carbohydrates are in the form of items down your bakery aisles and in your bread aisles and in your cracker aisles at the stores. So those high dense carbohydrates are things like pizzas, things like buns and rolls and breads, things like bagels, muffins, crackers, and pastries and things like that. So again, if you see something that says sugar, no sugar added, it doesn't mean sugar-free. So make sure you look at the label We're looking at the label on all the foods is really going to increase your awareness. And it'll say total carbs, and then it'll say sugars underneath. But the number you need to look at is the carbs, because carbs equal sugar. So hopefully that was a really great tip for everyone. And there's a lot more of that in our upcoming, and it's so exciting, because that's going to be really great in our upcoming wonderful 5-day, no BS blood sugar challenge. And that is actually running now for the entire month. It's so exciting. It's 5 days, simple tips, lots of fun. And you get to join in every day and do something different that's going to impact your blood sugar levels from morning till night. And it's really awesome. We've had so many people join us with that challenge. And the other wonderful thing launching tomorrow for the month is also the Caregivers Handbook. It's actually the Bible, the go-to Bible. And I know when I was diagnosed, and so many clients of mine were looking for go-to information for caregivers. So let's salute our caregivers, my goodness. Yes, our caregivers who give so much of themselves and are often asking, what do I do? Waking up in the morning, the sugars are this, or my goodness, the middle of the afternoon, what do I do before I go to bed? And there's a lot of worry and concern. So what I've decided to do is, let's give caregivers that knowledge, and let's give them their go-to Bible for the nightstand, the coffee table, the kitchen. It has it all. So there's a free webinar tomorrow. Actually, it would be, I guess, 4 o'clock Pacific time and 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And come and join us. We have lots of great stuff. And at holisticdiabetessolutions.com, we have wonderful monthly mentoring. We have free Trivia Tuesdays. I think, Barbara, you've been in there. And Wellness Wednesdays. So we have a free Facebook group where we share every week a really great lesson. So come on in and see us. Can't hear you, Barbara.
I hate this mute button. It gets me every time. So what I was trying to say before I got muted by myself, that first of all, thank you, Cheryl, for sharing that. I think these little tips that you give, especially when it comes to reading your labels and understanding about the sugars in them, because before I found out that it was a few years ago, I was kind of on the borderline for diabetes, that all of a sudden my whole world just went whoop real quick, because everything that I really wasn't paying attention to, and I'm just being honest, all of a sudden I was like, okay, what's on there? How many grams of this? And then it was really, you would think certain things was like, oh, that doesn't have that much sugar in it. Like, okay, applesauce or, some fruits and stuff. I found out some fruits do have a lot of sugar in it. I mean, I know they say it's natural, but still it could be, still a lot. I mean, I love grapes, and somebody said, you better be careful of the grapes. So I was like, grapes. So
when it comes to fruit, in moderation, it's not that, it's really great to have a taste test when it comes to fruit, rather than full servings. And so when it comes to, taste testing sizes, then we're good with that. Yeah.
See, I was having with the grape, because I love grapes. So I would have like a big bowl and sit right next to me while I'm, I'm just going like this while I'm doing my job and stuff and working during the day. And then somebody, the doctor's like, how big of a bowl of grapes do you have, Barbara? I'm like, oh, it's huge. I got my little grapes. I was all happy about it. He's like, nah, you need to make it that's a little cup.
Well, that's right. And it's really nice. And that's a really great tip too, Barbara, because if we already have like the size of a little dish, okay, and it's going to hold, I'm going to say 8 to 10 grapes, then that's the serving size.
That was it. And I had to get used to that, because eating grapes for me is like eating potato chips. When you have it's just like next thing you know, the whole is gone. So so just that alone, and it really made me think about the proportions. I love that part about it too. And I found it doesn't take a lot to fill you up. And I know this is about what we're talking about, but just in general life, when you start to look at that, I was like, wow, it's changing my whole aspect of how I look at things, how I eat, what I pick, and what I choose. So thank you for always bringing those tips to us, Cheryl. And what's going on in the global Diabetes Month, which I'm so glad that you are just, really a lot of information out for people and just giving awareness and being that expert that you are. I truly appreciate you doing that for us.
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you so much for your support. And it's wonderful because so many people, half the people in the world that have prediabetes and diabetes are not even aware. And sometimes it's one day when something serious happens that it gets somebody's attention. So that's why I encourage people to step up and take responsibility, because anybody can walk into Walmart or into any box store or into any Walgreens or into any Shoppers, and they can get a free monitor, and they can buy some glucose test strips, and they can just start testing randomly on their own, which is the best thing, because then that gives them information about how their body's performing. And then they can start to do something about it right in the beginning. And of course, we have Kickstart programs and intro programs, and we have signature programs that walk people through how to achieve, balanced ideal blood sugar levels in less than 12 weeks. So that's a future lifestyle for people, because out of all the conditions and out of all the diseases, Barbara, diabetes is the one that we have the most control over, and that we know medications are toxic. We know we don't want to be taking those to challenge our body.
No.
And they've discovered, researchers have discovered that it's the buildup of the toxins in the body that don't get flushed out. Like, when we have our cars, we go and we have maintenance, we have our oils changed, we have regular maintenance so that the vehicles run as good as possible, and they give us the best performance, right? And we also fill up with, the best fuel for our vehicles so that we have that fuel. So for our bodies, it's not like we really go to a 3-month depot place and we go underneath some kind of detox hour-long care. So that's what we need to do for ourselves every day. And by by choosing trigger things and by avoiding them, and to learn more of what to put in our systems, that's automatically going to detox the confusion in the receptor cells, because our receptor cells get blocked, and then it stops our sugars from being absorbed into the cells. And high blood pressure or high blood sugar levels are not caused by diabetes; they're a side effect.
Oh,
that's a huge discovery. And so that's all, in some of our monthly mentoring, where we teach exactly how that happens. And then we give people that information, and then they can be empowered by it, and they can change their future and then transform them for the rest of their life.
Wow. I just learned something right now. So I didn't know that. I didn't know that was a side effect. Wow. And that's why doctors say, when people say, oh, I got to take this blood, take the medicine for high blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. That it's, you can, like you said, you can control it. I mean, if you do certain things, it could bring it to a certain level. Wow.
Yes. So it's addressing the cause, it's getting to the root cause, and holistic actually, as you know, embraces mainstream, and it embraces all of naturopathic and energy. So we're able to extract the best of all worlds, integrate them, and bring people what truly works, and what truly works is getting in front of your numbers so that you can have numbers that support your immune system, numbers that support healing, and numbers that stop the degeneration process and the internal inflammation process. And that's what it's all about. Simple, easy things. But got to know what they are and how to do them.
And that's why we have you.
That's why we're here.
To let us know what we need to do and what we need to look at and be aware of things. And it's so important. Knowledge, I don't know how many times I'm going to say this because it's so true. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. But what you do with it is very more important than just knowing. That's what I tell people.
It's how you apply it. It's how you apply it. So, how people learn more is right here. Come to holisticdiabetessolutions.com, and you can learn more there. We have our private Facebook group that's free, And we have our Trivia Tuesdays where we get everyone engaged and involved in our Wellness Wednesday. So we'll be having that today. And I know you were on there last time, Barbara.
Yes.
So great having
I'm
you.
a huge
And that's
supporter.
yes, and that's how everyone gets to learn about all the different wonderful initiatives that we do, from summits with world-renowned speakers, to our challenges, to our programs, to our kickstarts, to fun in the kitchen, all kinds of stuff.
Ooh, I can't wait till next week. I know maybe talk about some different foods that people can, kind of look at when we're dealing with that too. So I just am excited about it. So thank you, Cheryl, again for coming on. Like everybody, I'm putting the her link for her page to make sure you go right there and you get a lot of good information. And we will make sure that we basically put everything that's happening for Global Diabetes Month that she's doing, that I'll make sure I post that within everywhere on social media so everybody knows exactly where to go. So
You know what?
thank you, Cheryl.
That's really great. Thank you so much, Barbara. And I know that I'm going to see you in our challenge. And I also know that we're going to see you in our caregiver's guide, because there's something very special. And I've
Oh,
partnered with a world-renowned doctor, a 7 or 8-time New York Times bestselling author right now. And he and I have partnered to bring you a 6-part series that you can learn all about. And it's all about, what foods do we choose? How do we put them together? Let's have some kitchen fun. And then I've got a series of videos on the pantry and how to prep your kitchen and what to look for. Like what you said, what to avoid, what to have more of, and how to have fun with it. Getting set up for success.
ooh, can't wait. Can't
Well,
wait.
that's
Thank you,
awesome.
Cheryl. Thank you, Cheryl, so much. And we will see you next Wednesday. And you have a wonderful day. And just like I said, just keep shining for everybody, giving them that information that's needed for us.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Have an awesome day.
You too. I told you, what can I say? The experts are here always to give you so much knowledge, so much information. So with that, I have to say another Diamond Factor Experience with Barbara Beckley show. Another day. So with that, we will see you on Friday. So Friday, we have an expert coming on. I'm not going to tell you who she is because I like to introduce them that day. And so be with us at same time, same place. And with that, like I said, I always tell people, remember, let your inner PPD, what I call purpose, passion, drive, your foundation in life, let it shine, not just for you and your life, but shine for others because they need you. We need each other. We need to come together. We need to collaborate together. We need to work together. And that's what's so important, especially now in nowadays. So remember that we're here for each other, share each other's brilliance, share each other's genius, and always, as I always tell people, always shine like a diamond.